Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. Welcome to the course Pakistan Studies 2059 Paper 2. Today I am going to explain part 3 of the chapter Agriculture of Pakistan. Factors affecting agricultural production. This topic is divided into two broad categories. The first one is the natural factor and another one is human factors. When we talk about natural factors, the first key point in it is topographical features or the land features. When we talk about flat or undulated or smooth surface, here irrigation activity can be easily practiced and easy to plow that area, resulting into high yield, whereas steep land or highland areas creates difficulty to use machinery and to irrigate. Consequently, it results into less output. Another natural factor is basically soil. Rivers perform three main functions: erosion, transportation and deposition of minerals, that is alluvium. And why alluvium is so important? Because it provides nutrients, it is moisture retentive, it is fertile and it is not prone to waterlogging. If you guys remember, waterlogging is basically one of the irrigation problem. In it, the level of the water is higher than that of the level of the soil and it turns the soil into a mud. Whereas thin soil is infertile due to less nutrients. Now, third natural factor that affects agricultural production is pest and diseases. Why it's one of the problem? Because it destroys the crops, the pest or diseases. For example, for cotton crop, the leaf curl virus destroys the crop. So what preventive and curative methods are applied? One of it is that the seeds are poisoned before sowing. So this prevents the pest attack. Another point is to go ahead with the spraying of pesticides that kills the pest, preventing the entire crop. So it is both preventive and curative measure. Rain is also one of the very important natural factor and plays a key role in agricultural production. It is very important that rainfall occurs at the correct time. For example, at the start of the monsoon for kharif crops like rice. If you people remember that kharif crops are basically the summer crops. In it, the seeds are sown in summer season and harvested in winter season. So I told you earlier that rainfall is not suitable at times of harvesting because at that time the crop is fully ripened. Gentle shower can occur during growth time. It is very important for Barani areas or for the Barani crops as they are fully dependent on rainfall. For example, Potwa Plateau. In these regions, the agricultural production relies totally on rainfall because irrigation facilities can't be provided in those areas because of the rough surface. Suitable temperature or availability of the sunshine also plays key role in agricultural production. Can you imagine the process of photosynthesis without sunshine? Obviously no, because light intensity is one of the limiting factor for the process of photosynthesis. It is also very important, the temperature and sunshine is also very important at time of ripening. Now let's throw some light towards the human factors. The first human factor is basically irrigation. Irrigation is the artificial supply of water that basically provides water at correct time or at time of need in order to fill the gap of rainfall. It is very important. For example, through tube well, we can remove or we can pump out excess water from the ground in order to remove waterlogging or in order to reduce the level of the water. Now let's look upon the reasons that why waterlogging and salinity can occur due to irrigation. Like through poor farming practices, overuse of water from the perennial canals can ultimately lead to waterlogging and salinity. As you all remember, perennial canals are the type of canals that provide water throughout the year. Unlined canals, since they are not lined, so water can easily seep into the ground and increasing the chances of waterlogging. Then tube wells are very expensive to install, and if let's say they are purchased and they are installed, in order to maintain it or in order to use it, we require electricity, and electricity charges is also very expensive. Then lack of technology for pumps and wells. Ultimately, when there will be less technology for tube wells and for wells, then how you are going to install it? Then lack of electricity or load shedding or electricity gaps can ultimately result into almost no use of tube wells, because without electricity tube wells can't work, and if the tube wells can't work, that means they cannot pump out the water from the ground, the excess water from the ground. Another human factor is chemical fertilizer. They are considered to be better than cow dung, since cow dung is not suitable for the health, as diseases can spread through it. Chemical fertilizers basically enrich the soil with important minerals like magnesium, nitrate, phosphate, etc. Minerals also need replacing after cultivation, so its use can ultimately reduce crop failure. Fertilizers can give us higher yield, but they are very expensive, and illiterate farmers are reluctant to use it, and it can also cause water pollution or eutrophication. Eutrophication is the process in which the fertilizers can leach into the river and then river transfer those minerals, fertilizers minerals, into the sea. Ultimately what happened, these fertilizers promote the growth of algae in sea. When algae is formed and it gets deposited in the topmost layer of the sea, then ultimately it blocks sunlight. As a result, marine life dies. Now let's talk about mechanization. Machines works faster than human, and it results into less wastage as they are more efficient. It leads to better preparation of fields. Mechanization can help in different processes like threshing and harvesting. Like for harvesting, combine harvester is used for cutting of the crops once they are ripened. Mechanization also requires less labor. However, it causes unemployment, increases rural to urban migration. Machines can even break down. It is not suitable to be used in small farms. It can only be used in large areas. These are expensive to purchase and maintain, needs spatial skills, and illiterate farmers will have difficulty to use it. Another human factor is basically the transportation. For example, in case of sugarcane, it needs to be quickly transported to the mills in order to prevent the losses. Now, what kind of losses? As we have already discussed this in crop farming, that sugarcane, once it is harvested, it starts losing its content. So it is very necessary that it needs to be transported quickly to the sugar mills. Dry ports are also used for imports like fertilizers. Loans are also one of the human factor. It is required in order to facilitate the agricultural processes, because without money you cannot purchase those basic inputs. Since we are a developing country, so government cannot afford to make agricultural development in a very low budget. Training and knowledge is also one of the human factor that is the requirement in agricultural process. Training should be provided regarding weather conditions, updates, uh, regarding understanding of the soil, regarding methods for better methods for cultivation, knowledge of diseases, better use of high yielding variety of seeds, and proper use of fertilizers and pesticides, so that the efficiency can be maintained and there is less wastage. Because with training, the farmers learn how to use machinery, how to save the resources, so ultimately there will be less wastage. Training and development also guides regarding better use of machinery or technology, better money management, and better marketing. However, due to poverty, modern methods cannot be afforded. High rate of illiteracy of farmers does not support the process of training and development. It is also very expensive for the government to go ahead with training and education for everyone. One of the seed variety is high yielding variety. Why it is known as high yielding variety? Because it produces more output in less time, higher yield in less time, and it also doubles the output. It doubles the production of crops, or the, you can say, any kind of crop depending on its variety. It is also resistant to pests and diseases. Ultimately, it results into a better quality crop. These high yielding variety of seeds are also drought resistant. That means they do not require a lot of moisture content, a lot of water. So less demand for water. High yielding variety of seeds stimulates the growth. However, it exhausts the nutrients of the soil, and poverty and illiteracy becomes a barrier on its use, because farmers are reluctant to use it, and poverty does not support the purchase of these expensive high yielding variety of seeds. Another important human factor is telecommunication. Through telecommunication, we can have access to information and knowledge. It improves education and skills, and it becomes easy to contact the market or the intermediaries. However, it is very expensive to purchase telecommunication gadgets. Farmers are illiterate, so they do not know how to use them, and there is also lack of electricity in rural areas. Pesticides also play a very important role in the process of agriculture. It kills pests and it only targets the pest, but it must be used at correct time, and its use should be properly done, because overuse of it can cause air and water pollution, and it can also affect our health, because through crop we can get those pesticides in our food chain. They are also very expensive, and illiterate farmers cannot read the instructions, so overuse, they can go ahead with overuse of it, so it's very deadly. Lastly, size of farms matters a lot. Large farms are efficient, easy to use machinery in large farms, as I've already told you. It is very easy to irrigate, easy to get loans, and you can also get large output through it. Whereas small farms in Pakistan are inefficient, machinery cannot be used, loans cannot be taken, irrigation is really hard, and consequently it results into less output. Now we are going to look upon the land reforms of Pakistan. Why do we need land reforms? There are multiple reasons for it. Let's look upon it. Land reforms are needed to break the hold of the landlords, for fair distribution of the land, protection of the rights of the tenants, and consolidation of land holdings. Land reforms of 1959. In it, maximum 200 hectares of irrigated or 400 hectares of non-irrigated land could be provided. Extra land could be taken from the government. Compensation to landlords in installments. Tenants to get ownership of the land resumed on payment of the price of the land in installment. Landlords could not fire the tenants, and consolidation of land holdings. These are the salient points of the land reforms of 1959. Land reforms of 1972. In it, 60 hectares of irrigated or 120 hectares of non-irrigated land could be provided. No compensation for the land acquired from landlords. Resumed land will be distributed to tenants without making any payment. No landlord could basically fire the tenants at his own will. The tenants were given the first right of purchase if the landlord sold the land. Consolidation of land holding. Land reforms of 1977. It includes the following points: 40 hectares of irrigated or 80 hectares of non-irrigated land could be provided. Compensation to landlords. Land will be distributed among the tenants free of cost. Consolidation of land holdings. Now we are going to look upon the reasons that why were these reforms not successful. These reforms were simply a paperwork, and there were half-hearted attempts and lack of political will. The landlords were strong enough to implement these land reforms. Low social or economic status of tenants, corruption in land revenue department, and lack of documentation of land. What are the effects of agriculture on environment? Firstly, chemical fertilizers reach rivers which cause algae, so less oxygen and sunlight for aquatic life. Pesticides or insecticides pollute air and cause diseases as farmers inhale them and because they do not use precautions like masks. Deforestation of land for agriculture can lead to soil erosion if left exposed. Irrigation due to poor farming practice causes waterlogging and salinity. Overgrazing by sheep which causes soil erosion. High yielding variety of seeds exhaust nutrients of soil. Problems of crop farming. Firstly, small size of farms due to growing population, lack of money or poverty, difficult for small farmers to get loans, lack of education or knowledge so cannot use modern methods. Many farmers dislike new ideas or hold traditional attitude, fear the use of machinery would increase unemployment. Most machinery has to be imported and is very expensive. Machinery is difficult to use on farms or fragmented farms. Shortage or expensive fuel or power supplies. Then the fuel is also very expensive. Lack of technical experts of machinery. Lack of spare parts for machinery. Animals provide other needs of farmers as well as draft uses so preferred to machinery. Using high yielding variety of seeds needs specialized knowledge. Insufficient chemical fertilizers produced in Pakistan, so that means fertilizers need to be imported. Oppressive landlords do not allow change. Tenants are insecure or are unsure of their position and so do not take risk change. Storms and flooding or pest attacks, example, leaf curl virus destroy crops. Rural urban migrations, so able-bodied men leave. Waterlogging and salinity reduces cultivable area or yield. Solution or improvements. Green revolution or the use of modern inputs like high yielding variety of seeds for high yield. Increase in farmland due to irrigation. Example, development of dams or link canals or perennial canals or tube wells. Government support or policies like land reforms giving tenants greater security. Loans to farmers to purchase machinery. Imported or subsidized fertilizers or inputs. Guaranteed prices or support prices of output. Agricultural universities or colleges like Agriculture University, Faisalabad. So therefore more research and experts are produced in agriculture sector. Education or training of farmers through media. Then high yield or better quality seeds could be used in order to boost crop farming. More uses of high yielding variety of seeds like Iripak for rice, Mexipak for wheat and Nayab 78 for cotton. Increased use of fertilizers, increased use of pesticides or insecticides, mechanization, example tractors for plowing, financial help from relatives abroad and foreign investment. I hope that you all have understood the lecture. Allah Hafiz.